We are doing the Cambridge IGCSE Paper Core 1 from October, November 2022. Let's do this 1 hour. Here we go. Get our pen out. Right, write the number 2 million. Break this down. 2 million. So 2 million looks like this. 2 million. It's got 6 zeros. Then 840,000. That's the next one. 840,000. And the last one is 327. So squeezing that together, 2,840,327. That says in the mark scheme. Next one, the mathematical name. Remember the mathematical names for the different angles. First there is the acute one, which is less than 90 degrees. Then of course you got a right angle, which is exactly 90. And the one we have here, obtuse. Bigger than 90, smaller than 180. And the last one, reflex. That's when we go all the way, more than 180. So this one here, obtuse. Learn those by heart. Right, measure the length of the line in millimeters. I don't have a ruler on my screen here. Okay, but here we can see 77 millimeters is the right answer. So you need to be very accurate. Don't confuse the millimeters with the centimeters. Okay, then draw a line perpendicular to this line. Okay, you don't understand how many students miss that. I almost missed this. So perpendicular means, okay, it needs to be at a 90-degree angle. Make sure it looks exactly 90 degrees. Okay, and if you want to seem smart, put that right angle sign in there. Then they will love you. They know you're a good mathematician. It doesn't have to be in the middle. Okay. So just this line meeting the line to get your 1 mark there. Okay. Question 4. Okay, this one I can't do on the screen. Unfortunately, I don't have that question at the moment printed out to do it for you on paper. So what you need to do though is you need to take your compass and you need to open it exactly 5 centimeters. So you take your ruler, open your compass 5 centimeters, and then you're going to make an arc with your pencil over here like that. Okay, and whatever that line is, it will be 5 centimeters away from P. Okay, that will be the arc. Then you need to open your compass 4 centimeters. Put the sharp end on Q and you make another arc from Q. Now this arc will exactly be 4 centimeters from Q. And when those two meet, that's then where you take your ruler and you connect it to form the triangle. If you're not sure what's going on here, ask your teacher in class and they will show you. Okay, and this line needs to be exactly 4 centimeters and that one will be 5 centimeters. I mean, you can find it by trial and error, but to get full marks you need to have these arcs, the ones in green, and then the length's correct. Right, a common multiple of 18 and 24. There are different ways to find this. Just remember, multiples means multiplication tables. So the multiplication tables is 18 is 18, plus another 18 is 36, plus another 18 is 54, plus another 18 will be 72, plus another 18 will be 90. I mean, you could just take your calculator, start with 18, plus 18, plus 18, plus 18, you know, easy stuff. So let's do the same for 24. 24 times table is 24, 48, what's it then, 72. But the moment you find one answer that is the same, you know you have it. Okay, 72 it is. Alright, any multiple of 72. So it doesn't have to be 72. It's just a common multiple 72 is the lowest common multiple, but they're not asking the lowest one. So that means you can also have, for example, 144. You can also have 216. I mean, this goes on forever. Okay. Write 32 centimeters as a fraction of 2 meters. Give your answer in the simplest form. So 32 centimeters as a fraction of 2 meters. The next step, of course, would be to get the units the same. So we need to change 2 meters to centimeters. And you know what centi means 100. So you need to times it by 100. So 2 meters will be 200 centimeters. That means the fraction is 32 over 200. Okay, we can divide that by 2. Divide it by 2 again. Divide it by 2 again. If you got your calculator though, if you put it in there, it will automatically quickly give you the simplified answer straight away. Okay, so use that to help you. 4 over 25 is the only correct answer. You get 1 mark for writing 32 over 200. Okay, so Oslo is not the place I want to go. Too cold. Madrid is near my home. I'd rather go there. You know, it's still winter time. It's cold there. Which city has the coldest temperature then? Of course, Oslo. -5. What is the difference between Helsinki and Paris? Okay, when we do difference, we need to subtract. So we're subtracting a negative answer here. 2 negatives makes a plus. The difference being 9 degrees Celsius. Okay, the big question is here, what if you put -9? I honestly don't know, but they'll mark it correct. Just the difference is 9 degrees Celsius. Question 8. Finding the value of x. Okay, the moment you see parallel lines, you're going to start looking for the alternate and corresponding angles. The Z and the F angles. Okay, let's mark the angle we have. Well, there's lots of different ways to find the answers here. One way I see is you mark this angle, right? We got 55. What can I mark? Can I make an F or a Z? Yes, we can make an F. F meaning corresponding. Meaning this angle here is 55. We could also have done opposite angles and then the Z angle. I mean, there's many ways to get that. Either way, that angle there is 55. So our next step would be to do straightforward angles on a straight line. Alright, meaning angle X plus 71 plus 55. What should that be? 180. Add that 71 and 55 together. What's that? 126. I think. And then you subtract 126 from 180. Okay, which would be 54. Now, I am correct. But don't be shy to use your calculator, yeah? So it got something similar to mine. Recognizing that 55 somewhere. Okay, so writing things on the diagram, you can earn your marks. Do that. Okay, question 9. Dividing $200 in the ratio 7 to 3. That just means you got 2 people. If the one person gets $7, the other one gets $3. It means you're giving away $10 in total. But we're not giving it $10 in total. We're giving away $200. So we need to keep giving the one bloke 7 and the other one 3 until we've made up $10. So how many times do we need to keep doing that? 200 divided by 10 is 20 times. That means we need to multiply each part of our ratio by 20. So first bloke gets 7 times 20 is $140 and the other one gets $60. It makes sense because when we add it together, it's the 200 we're giving away. Okay, so the ratio is 140 to 60. Don't write them the wrong way around. It's important that they're in the right order. Okay, now your answer doesn't need to look like the mark scheme, right? You just need to add 7 and 3 together. You need to divide it into 200 and then multiply it with each part of the ratio. Okay, stem and leaf diagram. Okay, very important with the stem and leaf diagram, always needs to be ordered. So before I write my answer in the main part here, I'm just going to do on the right hand side an unordered one. Okay, so 2.1, 2.1. See, there's the 2 and there's the 1. 1.6, the 1 is already there, so I just put the 6 over here. 2.7, that 7 gets next in the row of the 2. 4.2, put the 2 there. 4.0, put the 0 there. 2.2. So now I got all the numbers in the right rows. Now we can put them in the right order. The first one is already. So I got 1.6 and 1.7. Next one we got 2.1, then 2.2, then 2.6. I say 6 and I write it 2. Yeah, something's wrong with my brain. 2.6 and 2.7. And there we go. They are ordered. Okay. See, correctly ordered. It says this on the mark scheme. Let's get it highlighted here. Correctly ordered. Okay. So you get 2 marks, or you get 1 mark for 2 rows correctly ordered, or a fully correctly unordered one. So if it is correct but it's unordered, you only get 1 mark. To get the full 2 marks, it needs to look exactly like this. Okay. So let's continue here. Then it says find the median. Now one way to find the median is to take the numbers and write them from the smallest to the biggest. Smallest being 1.6, then 1.7, then 2.1, etc. Write them all down and then find the middle one. Okay, but they are kind of already ordered from the smallest to the biggest. If you see here, okay, let's use a bit of green. 1.6 is the smallest, 4.2 is the biggest, so we just need to move from there. Alright, so can we mess this up? Yeah, let's mess it up. So we just cross them off. Smallest one and the biggest one. Second smallest and the second biggest. Third smallest, third biggest. Fourth smallest, fourth biggest. Fifth smallest, fifth biggest. There we go, that's the middle. Okay, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that is smaller. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that is bigger. So the answer being here 2.7. Let me just write that nicely. 2.7. There's another way of doing this, right? The mathematical way. How many numbers do we have? 11. You take 11, you add 1, and you divide by 2. So the 12 divided by 2 is 6. The 6th number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This 6th number is the middle one. Okay, you have to add that 1 or it doesn't give you the middle. Just try to do it without adding the 1. You'll see we'll get 5.5 and that's not the middle. Okay, give it a practice, give it a go. So 2.7 being the correct answer. Goodness. There, 2.7 being the correct answer. There. Alright, color of 240 cars leaving a car park. Some of this information is shown in the pie chart. Show that 60 cars are blue. Okay, what do we know about the blue cars in the pie chart? Well, we know that they got a 90-degree angle. 90 degree out of much. How much is the whole pie chart? 360. So that is the fraction of the pie chart that we have blue. How many cars are there? 240. So if we work out that same fraction of 240, what do we get? So we got 90 out of 360. That's the fraction of the pie chart times it by 240, the fraction of the total. We get 60. And that's how you show an answer. Show an answer by doing the maths and showing all of it. Okay. Right, the rest of the cars are either red or white. 110 cars are red. Complete the pie chart to show this. Again, pie charts is just fractions. Okay, so 110 cars are red. 110 out of how many? Again, yeah. How many cars are there? 240. Now, if we have to draw this in a pie chart, we need to know the angle, and the angle in a pie chart is always out of 360. See, this is all just fractions. We're going from the pie chart to the actual number. We start with the angle out of 360, like here. If we want to find the angle, we start with the actual fraction, and we times it by the pie chart, which is out of 360. So we do that calculation. So we go 110 out of 240. Gosh, we want to know what is that out of 360, and we get the angle 165. Right, this is where I'm going to pause quickly the video and jump to an online tool to draw that angle. So here I got a little protractor on an online tool. So there is the pie chart, and we got a protractor. Okay, and remember we now need to draw an angle of 165 degrees. So first we need to position our protractor correctly. We need to put the middle of the protractor in the middle of the pie chart, and then we need to put a 0 on a line. So we can put that 0 there, or we can put the other 0 there. So there's two ways of doing it. Okay, so here I got the outside numbers, the black 0 on the line, or come on, rotate it now. There we go. Or we do it like this. Now we got the blue 0 on the line. Now we use the inside numbers. So I'm going to now use the inside numbers because I've got the blue 0 on the line. And we go 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 165. Oh, the chart. Oh, I made it too small. There we go. Okay. Right, so your protractor will never be the right size. It might be bigger or smaller than the actual pie chart. See, I can change mine. I'm cheating. But anyway, so it will never fit exactly. So what you do then is you need to make a dot there, exactly 165. Oh, I just make a line. And then you remove the protractor. Oh, I can't do it because then it messes everything up. And then you draw a line. And then you clearly write in that space there what you intend. In this case, it would be red cars. Okay, and then in the other part you write what is it? What was it? What was the other color? Okay, white cars. You write it in there. White, red. I can't do it because this tool is limited. My ability limited here. Okay, so that's how you do it. Look at what I want. Your ruled line, 165. That needs to be accurate. Okay, but do put in the information. Of course, the calculation I just showed you, there it is. I mean, there is another ways to do it as well. Okay, this is the method I prefer. Moving on to question 12. Okay, so we are reducing the price of a computer by 15%. When you reduce the price of something, you take the whole price, which is 100%, and you're subtracting 15% of that price. That means you end up with 85% as the original price. Now 85%, we can write the decimal value, which is 0.85. So if I want to reduce 520 by 15%, I just multiply it by 0.85 and you have the answer. So 520 times 0.85, there we go, $442. Okay, there is other ways to do it. You can work out 15% and then subtract it. I mean, you do it like this: 520 the long way, 15% is 15 out of 100. That's 78, and then you take 520 minus 78. I mean, you get the same answer. That's fine. Okay, whichever method you prefer. Okay, but on the mark scheme you see here, they kind of show my method. You subtract 15 from 100, you write the decimal value, that is how you divide it by 5, and then you times it by 520. Okay, question 13. Without using a calculator to work this out, first thing you do is you take a calculator, you type in the calculation, 1 over 3 plus 5 over 6, and you get the answer, and you write it down on the line, Okay, just be aware that you get 0 marks for this, for using your calculator, because you need to show them how you do it without a calculator. Without a calculator, you need to get the denominators the same. So we'll take that first fraction and multiply the top and the bottom by 2. That will make it 2 over 6. So because the denominators are the same, we can add them together. 2 plus 5 is 7, and the denominators stay the same. So we got the answer. Be careful now. It tells us to write it as a mixed number in its simplest form. Okay. Now your calculator can do that for you. You press shift, you press there, that is 1 1/6. Okay, or you do say 7 divided by 6, 6 goes into 7 ones with the remainder 1, and the denominator stays the same. So then, if you did like me, write 7 over 6, just draw a clear line through it, and write the correct answer next to it, and you'll get your full marks. Okay, so as you can, my goodness, what's going on? Right, as you can see here, 1 mark for getting those denominators the same, and you only get full marks. Okay, because it says A1 here, this mark is dependent on the method mark, so you won't get the A mark if you don't have the M mark. Question 14. Okay, chance that a new car is faulty is 0.04, 4% chance. Okay, so it's either faulty or not. All probabilities add up to 1, so we need to subtract that from 1, and that will give us 0.96. Okay, you can write 96%, you can write it as a fraction, doesn't matter. 0.96 is the easiest though, I think. Okay, so Mario tests 850 cars. Now the probability tells you the percentage kind of. If you have 100 cars, 4 will be faulty. If you got 1 car, 0.04 of the car will be faulty. So if you got 850, you just multiply it by the probability, the decimal value. Okay, and you will know how many cars are faulty. That's all you need to do. 34 is going to be faulty. Okay, 1 mark here, 1 mark you could possibly get for the working out, and then correct answer only, you have to have 34 there. Question 15 is about selling sandwiches. Okay, let's look at this fraction. 11 out of 14. What does it mean? Okay, this means if they make 14 sandwiches, they sell 11 of them. I don't know what they do with the other 3. Maybe the boss eats them. Must be fat. Right. Now, if they don't just sell 11, they actually sell 330, which they need to sell more than 11 to make a business. Okay, what goes at the bottom? Now, this is like equivalent fractions. What do I multiply 11 by to get 330? Let's do that calculation backwards. So 330 divided by 11, okay, is 30. So we need to multiply that by 30. So we're going to do the same here, from there to there. Because equivalent fractions, you need to multiply the top and the bottom by the same thing. So we need to do 14 times 30. I still have the 30 there, so I just type in 14, and that gives us 420. Okay, 420. So that's actually worse. They make 420 sandwiches and only sell 330. So there's 90 sandwiches they don't sell. I don't know what happens to them. Definitely the boss can't eat that many. Okay, maybe the workers steal them or they just go down the bin. Anyway, 420 sandwiches is what we're going for here. Okay. So looking at the mark scheme there. There's the division I did, and you times it by 14. This is shown in 1 step. You don't have to do it in 1 step to get the correct answer. Question 16. We start off by just doing substitution. Alright? To find what is y when x is minus 4, we change in the equation. They give us the x for a minus 4. Okay. Now, we can just write 5 over minus 4. Okay, on the calculator it will give us that. If you want to change it to a decimal value, you can. Maybe that will be easier when you plot the points. Okay, but you can write it as a fraction if you want. And the next step would just to be changing that for a positive 4. So it's the same thing, it's just 5 divided by 4. This time it's positive, so it's 1.25. Okay, looking at the mark scheme. They put it in decimals or equivalents. If you write it in a fraction, improper fraction, mixed fraction, it doesn't matter. Right, the next step would be to plot the points. Be very careful here. When you plot the points, do this right. Use a pencil. If you make any mistakes, you can rub it out. You don't get stressed. Okay, remember, along the corridor, up or down the stairs. So first, if we got minus 5, we go from minus 5 on the x-axis and then down the stairs to minus 1. There's the first point. Minus 4, minus 1.25. So look at there is 4 squares, each square being 0.2, because 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8, 0.2, so 0.25 will be just below the second square, right over there. Minus 2.5, minus 2, right, look at this quickly, right? There is this gray area here. That's there for a reason. Okay, that means there's a gap in the graph. Okay, because x cannot be 0. What happens if we make x 0? So let's say 5 divided, and instead of x, we put 0. You put 5 divided by 0. Bam! Calculator says no, can't do it. It's an error. Because you can't divide anything by 0. That means our graph here cannot cross the y-axis. It's called an asymptote. So it means when we draw this line freehand, carefully, we stop there. Okay, you're not going to curve back this graph and continue connected to the other. That's going to be wrong. Okay, you should not have anything crossing the y-axis. Okay, so now we can continue. We can plot the other side of the graph. So along the corridor 1, up the stairs 5. And there we go. Okay, hope yours look better than mine. It's a bit wonky, mine, a bit ugly, but I should get my marks. Okay, correct curve. Make sure you plot every point correctly. Okay, nice and symmetrical. If it got anything weird, doesn't look right, doesn't feel right, you know it's not right. And like I said, just don't connect these 2 points. Don't cross the y-axis. That would be completely wrong. Okay, cannot cross this. Okay, that gray area there is for a reason. Question 17, term-to-term rule is how do I get from one term to the next? Alright, so here we're adding 6, and then we're adding, what are we adding? 18, and then we're adding a lot. So the moment you see, well, there's something weird's going on here. Okay, we're adding way too much. Let's spot a pattern. 54. You think maybe adding is not quite what we should be going for here. What else makes number increase very quickly? Alright, what makes things go bigger other than adding? Well, that's called multiplying. If we do 3 times what is 9? 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 27 times 3. So the term-to-term rule is times 3. There we go. That's all you need to write. Times 3. Then there's the nth term rule, okay? So don't confuse these two. Term-to-term rule and nth term rule. Nth term rule is the one you have to find the n. So here again, we look, what are we adding? We're adding 4. We're adding 4. We're adding 4 each time. That is exactly like the 4 times table. That's 2 times table. 4 times table. See, 4 times table, we're adding 4 each time. And the 4 times table is 4n. Not n plus 4. Okay, 4n, because it's the 4 times table. Now, this sequence they gave us starts at 13, then it's 17, then it's 21, then it's 25. So, it is the 4 times table, but it's not starting at 4, it's starting at 13. So, how do you get from 4 to 13? You have to, of course, add 9. So, what's what you need to do here? You need to add 9. Another way of finding that what goes at the back, that at 9, you continue this sequence the other way. What will I put here? We call it the 0th term, term 0. Okay, that will be 9, because 9 plus 4 is 13, and that's the 9 you put over there. Okay, so 4n plus 9. 1 mark for 4n, 1 mark for plus 9. Right, my favorite, Venn diagrams. Yeah, let's just go through the terminology here. There's beautiful E they have. That means the universal set. That means everything in the box. Okay, and then P is got everything in P, and Q is everything Q, and G is hanging around in the box, so it's part of the universal set, but it's not in P and Q. So what is this set P? Everything that's in P. That's A, B, C, D. That's the set P. A, B, C, D. Okay. Then we have a little n there. That n stands for number. So the number of things, that is P union Q. Union. Remember this. Make this bigger. That U there means union. Okay, opposed to intersection, which is like a funny N. Union means everything. Everything in P and everything in Q. And it can be in both as well. So we take everything that's in P, A, B, C, D, everything that's in Q, E and F as well. Okay, but we don't write them down like the previous one. They don't want the set, they want the number of things. So we just count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 things in P or in Q or in both. 6 is here. Looking at question 19, just 2 little sentences. It can be very confusing. The bearing of A from B is 137. Find the bearing of B from A. I think we need to draw a little sketch here to make sure what is going on. Right, let's imagine we're in a town called Bananaville, because we are traveling from there to a town called Alphaville, for example, right? So here you are in Bananaville, and some distance away there is Alphaville. Okay, now we need to remember the important things about bearings. Okay, bearings always gets measured from north. North is always 0 degrees, so going straight up, that will be north, or 0 degrees. Now we always measure it clockwise, meaning a bearing of 137 would look like that. So that's how you would look. If you look at your compass or your navigational tools or your boat or your airplane, that's what it will show you. 137 degrees, that way is Alphaville. Okay, so that's pretty clear. What they ask us then is to find the bearing of B from A. So imagine you traveled there and now you're traveling back. Let's do this in a different color. Okay, so now we need to find the bearing going back from Alphaville. So first rule of bearings again, we need to measure from north from 0 degrees. So we need to measure the bearing from here, and we have to go clockwise. So we have to measure this way around. So you can see it's quite a big angle we're going to have to, right? More than 270 degrees. Okay, even though my drawing is not to scale, of course, I haven't used a protractor at all. I'm just estimating the bearings here. So what we need to find is that big green angle. That will be the bearing of B from A, because we're going from Alphaville to Bananaville. Okay, how are we going to do that? Okay, there are different ways to do that. One way is, let's use a this color, is to extend this line, and then remember thinking about parallel lines, because this north is always north, so these two lines will be parallel. And what we have then there is an F. You can see like an F lying on its back, meaning we've got corresponding angles, meaning this angle here would be the same as that one over there. That's 137 degrees. Corresponding angles. Okay. Just like if I've got two parallel lines like this angle equals that angle. Okay. So that makes things pretty clear. So all we need to add to that 137 is this angle here, and that one we can see without even having to measure it. That's a straight line, so that's 180 degrees, which making finding the whole of the green angle pretty easy. It's simply 137 plus 180. Okay, which would be 217. Is that not? Yeah, no, 317. 317. Okay, no. Use your calculator. If it's late in the day, you just had dinner or lunch, and there we go. 317, and that's what we got here. Okay, so actually the calculation is pretty straightforward. Just add 180, but you need to know why you're adding that 180. In the future, they can always ask this question a different way. Question 20, writing something in standard form. Standard form is always a number. That number cannot be smaller than 1 or bigger than 10. So it needs to be 1 point something or 9 point something or 5 point something times 10 to the power of something. That's standard form, meaning when you take this decimal point and move it 1, 2, 3 spaces so that this number here is 2.73. Then we write times 10. And how many spaces did we move it? We moved it 1, 2, 3 spaces. And because it's a smaller number, we move it to the right, it's minus 3. You can check these things on your calculator. If you press Shift, Set Up, and change it to scientific notation, so psi, I press 7, and then they want you to add the amount of significant figures they want you to show. I think 4 is a good one. Okay. Usually write your answers to 3 significant figures. Putting 4 is good. You can put 9, put them all. Okay, I'm going to put 4. So that means if I put in that number they've given us, 0.00273, and I press equal, it's supposed to give me the answer. So there we go. Scientific notation, right? It puts that 0 there after the 3 because I pressed 4, so it throws 4 figures, although that 0 means nothing. Okay, if I press 3, it won't show me the 0. If I press 5, it will put 2 zeros. Okay, but anyway, it gives us the answer in standard form. This will be helpful for the next question. They tell Sam to work this out. 9306 times 4532 equals, you see, there is the answer in standard form. That's the correct answer. Okay, so my advice is in an exam, always write as much as possible down. So we write it down. So the examiners see you know what you're doing. 4.217 times 10 to the power of 7. Okay, so let's look at the answer Sam wrote. Sam wrote that. Yeah, so you can see it's not right. First of all, because like I said, that number that we write before the times 10, that cannot be bigger than 10. Okay, so 42 is too big. He's put the decimal in the wrong place. So we need to put that in words. What has he done wrong? He's right 42.1 instead of 4.2. Okay, he's put the decimal point in the wrong place. So you can write that if you want. Let's do that. Alright, writing the correct answer there is very important, so they know what you mean. Okay. Error 2, can you see that? 3 significant figures. They have 3 significant figures. Let's use a different color here so we know what we're talking about now. Which seems right, but if I'm going to cut that number, look up here, off of the 3 significant figures, because this is 7, we should round that 1 up to a 2. So we can write the rounding is wrong. And that should be 4.22 times 10 to the power of 7. Oh, you see that? It should not be 6. No, it should be 7. Okay, let's see. Where are we? Oh, yeah, there we are. So incorrect rounding. Okay, showing the right answer, see what it means. It's not correct standard form. That's why I read the decimal points in the wrong place. And each case here, writing the right correct answer is important, so that the examiner, the person marking your work, knows what you know, what's the right thing, and that will ensure you your marks. Question 21. Mathematically similar triangles means all the angles is the same, and the sides is in the same proportion, the same factor. Okay, so for that, it's straightforward. Let's write similar triangles. So say find BC. So what is this? So we start by writing down BC. Now if we divide BC by its corresponding side on the other one, 4, we should get the same thing if we take the bigger value again, because we're putting the bigger triangle at the top, dividing to its corresponding side on the other side. Okay, meaning to find BC, you simply have to multiply the 4 over there, so it's 4 times 51 over 6. Okay, so we just put that 4 times 51 over 6. And see, my calculator is still in standard form. Let's just put that back, shift, set up. We want it normal, and you press 1 or 2, it doesn't really matter, 2 is a little bit better. And there we go, 34, normal number. Okay, just to make it clear, that 4 doesn't have to be at the top. You can put it in the front as well, you get the same answer. So if you do 4 times, same answer, same thing. Okay, 34, there it is. And look at that. That is a good way to write it, the way I did. Always put the unknown, the BC, at the top left-hand corner, and things won't be complicated. Question 22. We got a right angle triangle. Okay, when you see a right angle triangle, immediately you need to think one or two things. Pythagoras or SOHCAHTOA. Now Pythagoras only works with sides. So if we had this side, or we want to know this side, and we had that side, then it would have been Pythagoras. But here, there is an angle involved. As soon as there's an angle and a right angle triangle involved, either you have to find it or they give it to you, you're going to use SOHCAHTOA. Okay, so what we need to do first is label the sides. Well, the side opposite the right angle is the hypotenuse, which is not relevant here because we don't have it and we don't want to work it out, so we're not going to use it, so we don't need it. Okay, and then opposite the angle, on the other side of the triangle, that is the 17.5, and adjacent, right next to the angle, that's the x. So, having the O and the A in SOHCAHTOA, we're going to use the last bit, TOA, where the T stands for ton. And when we write trig ratios, we always write the ratios, sin, cos, or tan. And then right after the ratio, always comes the angle. And if you don't know what the angle is, you write x, but we do. And then first is the opposite in TOA, so that goes at the top. And then second is the A, that goes at the bottom, which is x. Right, we need to find x, so we need to get it alone. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply the x on the other side, and then we need to move the tan 48. We're going to divide it here. So all you really need to do is swap them around. So x equals 17.5 divided by ton 48. So let's do that. And that would be 15.757, etc. Right? It tells show that the value is 15.8. So you need to write everything down. The working out, the unrounded answer, and then you round it to 15.8. Okay, be thorough and clear on what you do. So we look at the mark scheme. Okay, 2 marks for getting the ton ratio correct. Either way you write it. Okay, and then you get a mark for writing the unrounded answer. Okay, where's my highlighter? Okay, so you do need to write the unrounded answer and then round it. And this A1 mark means you need to have this bit or that bit to get it right. Okay. Right. Question 23. One thing about maths is it makes complicated things easy by writing it in a simpler language. And then what they do in the exam is they give us something in a complicated language and we need to write it in a simpler language. So let's start with Natalie. Okay, so there's tomato plants and there's pepper plants. Natalie buys 4 tomato plants. So let's write there 4 tomato plants and 3 pepper plants for $9.35. Okay, so that means if we take the cost of the tomato plants, add it to the cost of the pepper plants she bought, she'll pay $9.35. See, that's an equation, one of the equations we need to write. Then we got Samir. He buys 2 tomato plants, 11 pepper plants, and that's $16.55. So we add them together. Right, so that what we've done now is we've taken the first 2 sentences, we wrote it in simple mathematical language. What we need to do now, we got our 2 simultaneous equations, is solve them. Okay, they're perfectly lined up for the elimination method, meaning we want to eliminate the t or eliminate the p, because if we got rid of one of those, we can calculate the other one. Okay, and we can do that by adding or subtracting these things together, but we need to have the coefficient, the thing in front of the t, or the thing in front of the 11, or the p, the same. Because now if we add or subtract them, we're not going to get rid of anything. So what I'm going to do here is, I'm going to multiply this whole equation by 2. In doing so, we'll change the 2t to a 4t, and then we have the coefficients the same, like I said. Okay, so let's do that. 2t times 2 is 4t. 11p times 2 is 22p. And 1655 times 2 is 3310, I think. Yep, 33.10. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to write the first equation again. So we got them nicely lined up. We can put them on top or the bottom. Let's put them at the top to show you what happens if we end up with negatives. Okay, the first equation, just dropping it down so we have them there again. Now we can eliminate one of them. How are we going to eliminate things? Well, we can subtract them. Adding them will work because 4t plus 4t is 8t. Sometimes we do add, but in this case we're going to subtract because 4t minus 4t is nothing. And we've now eliminated the t's, the tomatoes. So now we can go ahead with the rest of it. So we need 3p minus 22. So be careful now here because we end up with negatives. Okay. That will give us minus 19p. And we got 935 minus 3310. and that ends up with negative 2375. Okay. If we put the equations the other way around, we would have avoided these negatives, but I'm doing it this way so we can see what happens. So to find P now, we leave the negative 2375 where it is, and then we're going to divide negative 19. Okay. This is dividing because over here we got negative 19 times P. And what we need to do is we need to divide both sides by negative 19. It's not P minus 19. If it was that, we would have added the 19 on the other side, but it's not. Okay, so now remember, two negatives makes a positive, but we can put it in our calculator. So negative 23.75 divided by negative 19, and there we go. P is 125. Meaning a pepper plant costs $1.25. Alright, so now we need to go on to finding the price of a tomato plant. And to do that, we can put the value of the P into one of the equations above. Let's just take the first one. The first one, which is 4t. I thought I changed the color here. Make some space. Change it to green. Alright, so the first equation, 4t plus 3p equals 935. Now, we know that p equals 125, so we substitute the p for $1.25. So what we need to do now is times that by 3. So that means 4t equals 375. Next step would be to subtract 375. So we put 935, subtract my previous answer. So 4t equals 5.6. Last step then, of course, divide 4. And we get the price of the tomato plant, $1.40. Looking at the mark scheme. Okay, so you get 2 marks for writing those equations beautifully. Okay, then eliminating one variable comes 1 mark, and then if you've done all of that correct, you can get the marks for this, but you have to get the previous marks to get the answer marks. And then we got a blank page, means we are finished, done all of it. You genius, keep working hard, and you have awesome results. See you again soon.